Good morning, this is Burnrate and welcome back to Democracy 3 as we attempt to save Canada from the future and its own perils. So we currently have an egalitarian society, which is very nice. It improves things in general. We're working on our homelessness by pushing down unemployment. We've managed to maintain a pretty good surplus for a long time, but just, it definitely needs to be improved more. So we have quite a bit of rent controls, which are good. State housing I would actually like to increase to try to get rid of homelessness, because we're pretty we're not that close. I'll let some of the other effects take it down further, but we're definitely going to need to keep working on that. Asthma epidemic is getting a little better, so we're going to implement some more transport. Let's do this, some more transport policies. That'll improve the environment, help with the asthma epidemic as well. Wow. So that took 25. I didn't realize that. The low mileage, where is it? The low mileage car, it's up here somewhere. The ban on low mileage cars actually costs 25 to implement. So that's my whole turn. Well, hopefully it's worth it. It's going to make some people angry, but the motorist group is actually pretty big. We've done a lot of things to make it smaller, but no one hates us too much right now. These guys do, and I think we do need to increase security. Where's the intelligence services? These things move around a lot, so it makes it a little confusing. We could increase that for not much. That would actually help quite a bit with security. We'll do that next turn. Let's go next. Return to the government. Unemployment down again. Very nice. Things are looking good. No other major events. There's a food price. Let's look at that again. Food price crisis. So it hurt. This is a global event, but it hurts everything in general. That makes obesity go down. So don't think. I have a nice big surplus. Things are improving. Even though I spent more money last time, it's continuing to get better. So let's apply the changes here. It's a small increase, but we're going to get a little bit better with look at that. Those ratings are amazing. Let me see. I forget which menu it is. The ones where they're threatening us. I don't know, I just had it before. But there's the menu where it shows, people who, like these guys. Oh, here we go, the Brattenberg group. Intelligence briefing. So this is actually going to go up a little bit. And we could increase armed police as well. It'd make liberal go lower. But we don't really have a crime issue either. Just more to protect me. Of course we could make people happier, but you make capitalists happier and it just ruins the country. So let's see if we can do some more transport policies. New car subsidies are only $1 billion, but I think that is going to help a lot. So it does increase the motorist population and car usage, but does lower CO2 emissions and has a direct negative effect on the asthma epidemic, which is outstanding. Improvement on GDP as well. So I think that's definitely worth it. Our debt is going down. No more 2.5 billion from the alcoholism. We haven't had any more military events since we raised the spending there, and that helped with unemployment and things. So let's see. This is going down quite nicely. This we're still struggling with. Let's see what else we can do in terms of policies. We're pretty spent out here. Health food subsidies. I feel like this is going to be good. City farms. Let's implement this. It makes farmers like us more, increases the farmer membership. I think we'll just leave that in the middle there. Actually leave it low, so it just has a positive effect without increasing the farmer membership. So we're going to apply those changes, and that's all of our political capital. Still a good surplus. If we look at the charts, we can see the global economy is still recovering. That's helping boost our GDP. So next turn. Toxic waste dump. Nobody wants toxic waste. But we'd be fools to turn our backs on the economic gains from setting up this facility, as well as potential jobs. It says, or we cannot, it doesn't matter how many jobs and money is involved, we cannot just take the attitude of renting our country as a rubbish pit for other nations. The effects of toxic waste could last for generations, and is this the legacy we want to leave to our children? That is a compelling argument, although most people respond only to immediate money. I think I'll take the more idealistic approach, even though that will hurt our GDP. Or I guess take away any kind of approval for it. So, and it could help with unemployment and all sorts of things, so, but we're just gonna have to roll with it for now. So capitalists are slightly improving. This is pretty much gone. The Battenberg group down to minimal again, so I don't feel threatened at all. It's pretty good. And where are we? We have 27 political capital. We're doing pretty good in terms of these numbers. And our surplus is 10 billion. Our debt dropping quickly. So we could do something like this. This is actually, it's a very low estimated popularity. So this could help with the global CO2 and stuff like that. It's expensive, and it's gonna, but it will contribute to the technology development. Compulsory work for the unemployed. I'm going to implement this. It makes them like me less. It improves the GDP though. It does improve the capitalist opinion, which helps, and also pushes down unemployment, which is very important. So I'm going to go with that, and that's going to be the whole turn. Back. So technological advantage, a new situation, outstanding. So that's going to boost our GDP as well as productivity, which may end that event. So we can relax the planning laws for housing expansion. So in the long term, the only solution is to build more housing. It's no good providing housing where there are no jobs. And if that means building on a small proportion of greenbelt land, it's a price we have to pay. Or we can keep the planning restrictions. And there's always pressure to build homes on greenfield sites because housing companies find it cheaper and easier to build on them. But there are plenty of urban sites that should be reused. Yes, you don't want to, like in the US, there's more than enough empty houses in this country for every single homeless person to have a house. And I mean, it's not always in the best location. They couldn't afford, taxes or utilities. There's all sorts of issues with it, but just the idea of having literally enough empty houses in your country to, house every single homeless person is ridiculous, outstanding. So competitive economy drops with this boost. This might go away. That would be really nice. This is dropping pretty seriously. Also, things are going good. Let's look at our surplus of 14 billion. Our current debt interest is at 4 billion per turn. I'm really trying to keep expenditure down as things improve, because if we can knock off a whole ton of debt, we'll actually be doing really good. And I think all the negative events are going away, so let's see if we can do anything else to improve the economy. EO cap multiplier. I don't think any of these are really necessary at this time, and they would hurt the capitalist opinion of me and perhaps support some terror groups, which wouldn't be good. This is bad for international relations, though good locally. Space program. What else do we have? Mars program. How is the space program? We could actually afford this for about a third of our current surplus. Very interesting. Climate Change Adaptation Fund. That is a lot of money. It's definitely something we want to try to do. Otherwise, Canada will melt. I don't know, Canada and global warming in maybe 50 years, 20 years from now will actually... Who knows how the weather patterns will change. You know, you could have a desert somewhere and other places flooded. But especially when, you know, the Arctic ice is gone, like in the next few years, it'll be pretty crazy to see what happens. So let's see. Human cloning. Some people won't like it. But of course it'll improve some GDP, food standards. So I'm going to do this. It's pretty cheap, and I think it's going to improve health. It actually increases poverty, or decreases poverty, which is good. It makes, see, always this negative impact of capitalists and wealthy. But it helps with poor and health and everything, and health helps productivity and all that kind of stuff. So it's just a problem with the capitalists hating us. Anything that's good for society is bad for capitalists. Let's see if there's anything else we can do in here. Private prisons would not be bad. Actually, it's pretty cheap, because if you max out the rehabilitation of the prisons, you actually get no negative effects from like liberal sections of your community. So we're gonna go to next turn, save our political capital. And yes, nice. Uncompetitive economy and asthma epidemic gone. Credit rating upgraded, which means our GDP and our capitalist goes up. We have a refugee crisis. So natural and economic disasters overseas have led to a surge in the number of refugees coming to our country. It's making patriots and conservatives unhappy. Our GDP is just outstanding right now. Look at that. Just so many things just came in. Compulsory work for the unemployed, right there. That's what caused it. I'm gonna blame that. The technological advantage, maybe, perhaps, I guess. And my cabinet's been pretty happy for a while. So capitalism opinion is still going up, which is good. There's no real threats, perhaps the wealthy. The anger feeds support for the Heritage Society. But they are going down. This is actually very nice. But let me see. We have 45 now. Let's look at our surplus. It's outstanding. Okay. I want to turn that back into, let's look at, I want to turn that back into profit. So this productivity, we can actually jack that up another 8 billion. Huge boost in productivity. Also helps with Patriot and Capitalist. Selected sites and widespread extraction. It's just more of a cost right now for that. I am gonna boost this up. You know, I'm gonna max it out. Hopefully the negative environmental impacts do not cause an asthma epidemic or anything to come back. But that's gonna be a pretty big hit on my budget surplus, but I think it's worth it. And this will be cheap. The trade unionists do not like it. But unemployment goes down, crime goes down, capitalists like it. So I think we're gonna do that. And there's the trade unionist. That's a moderate group. That's about as many capitalists. And I think trading a little of them for that is okay. Because it's hard to find things that actually benefit society that the capitalists would enjoy. So our surplus is definitely going to take a hit due to the rare earth metal mining. But I think it's worth it at this time. Pollution controls would be nice. So let's see. And we can... So this would kind of negate. The only problem with this is it does hurt our GDP, but it has a pretty significant effect on pollution, CO2 emissions. Capitalists hate it, so it would kind of, this would kind of balance out the change that I did with. I don't think I want to take that big of a hit to the GDP though. I'll do just the bottom of restrictions right here and apply those changes. So we'll go to the next turn. We only have 3 political capital left. Unemployment down even more. GDP up, crime is low, health is good but could be improved, and poverty could be as well. So we can appoint a senior judge, someone who's a strong supporter of human rights, individual rights and liberties, strongly pro-consumer, and not afraid to challenge large corporations, which is important in a capitalist society because corporations do end up controlling the government, as you can see anywhere. And she is very anti-crime. We do not have a crime problem. Oh, I can't drag this out of the way, but there's no crime, so I'm gonna go with this guy. Also, look how many... I have like 3 things here because everything is going so well. So even with the increase of the rare metal mining, we still have a $25 billion surplus, which means International Fusion Research Project, perhaps. Space program, maybe. Climate Change Adaptation Fund. Let's see what else. Carbon tax. Ooh, that could have a lot of impacts. Make a lot of money, but that would really hurt the GDP, I think. So that would cost 39. Flat income tax is horrifying. What else we got? It might be good to save the carbon tax because it could apply that in moderation. Although I think I'm not sure. I think it hurts the GDP in the game, but I don't think in real life it does anything bad to the GDP. There's actually, like, because oil and gas and all that stuff is, I don't know. On one hand, it's how in the United States we kind of control the world through the economic dominance, and it powers the military, so it's important for peace, and you know, basically the people in charge get a lot more stuff, the rich get richer, etc. But at the same time, renewable resources, even without the huge subsidies of money just gives to these oil companies, wind and solar is actually cheaper. I think wind is cheaper than coal now, and coal is still subsidized, which is absolutely ridiculous. Like, I can still understand using oil, but coal, there is no reason for that. So there's an interesting thing about coal power plants is they actually emit more radiation into the environment than a nuclear power plant does, because just, you know, trace radioactive elements and the combustion and everything in the coal. So we have a huge surplus. And I don't know if I want to spend it on anything right now or use it to push down... How much of this? Anti-gravity. I think this will help the GDP. So unemployment down, traffic congestion down, industrial automation up, which is bad for unemployment. I think. We're going to do that. Max it out. And we're going to go next and see if we can get a carbon tax. Oh! So we have an asthma epidemic. Wow. So I think this came about from the environment tanking, and that occurs because the GDP was so high. It actually had the productivity has such a huge. And this stinks. And the environment too did this. So the environmental impacts we caused with the GDP actually really wrecked the thing. So we have a challenge here. We can extradite a terror suspect. There may be some minor concerns about the justice system, but they are fighting terrorists. In the situation reversed, we would be outraged at any refusal to send terrorists to face trial. If we extradite him, he'll face the death penalty. We cannot be sure he is the right man. We cannot extradite people just on the say-so of foreign governments. We need to see evidence of criminal activity before we possibly... I don't think that is unreasonable. I mean, we don't have to publicize it, but to see evidence of wrongdoing is not bad. So now we have... Wow, this was a bad turn. Or no, homelessness is at an end, which is outstanding, but the negative hits in the environment brought the asthma epidemic back, which we worked so hard and so long to get rid of. And the obesity... Ugh. Because of the GDP, everyone's just eating... I don't know how it is in Canada, but with the corn subsidies and ridiculous things like that, like, corn syrup is in almost literally everything, and it's horrifying, especially the high fructose corn syrup. The things it does to your body is scary. It's difficult to avoid. So, let's see what we can do for the environment. We got biofuel subsidies, which could affect food prices, but I think would be good. Close airports completely. Driverless car laws. That's a huge cost, 28. I think we might have to go with this carbon tax. Let's do this. And this will bring in quite a bit, 21 billion. So GDP takes a huge hit. So it's kind of a balance of, so this negative GDP versus the 21 billion in income. You know, what exactly is the CO2 emissions though? Boom, that's crazy. So where's the balance of our percentage of GDP versus, you know, how much we're getting from this tax, what we can use it for. Of course it brings down a lot of people's opinions, but I think the huge reduction in CO2 emissions makes it absolutely worth it, so we are going to do that. Keep it about where it started. That used almost all of our political capital. Healthy eating campaign. We need to do some of these because we have the obesity. That has a direct negative effect, which is outstanding. So we're going to save our 5 political capital, and we're going to take a break here. And again, we're going to have to come back and see what we can do for the environment. Our debt is going down nicely. This we should be able to go against. The high GDP makes it very difficult to fight those things. And this water shortage just came out of nowhere too. That's going to be difficult to fight. I'll have to see which specific policies we maybe can use to help with that, besides just straight environmental approval, though there might not be any. So, what year is it? Does it tell you what year it is? I mean, I'm halfway through my second term, so if we started in 2015 this year, it's about 2022, 23. I'll have a very high approval rating, which is awesome. So, I'm going to take a break here. Things are going well, and I hope you join me in the next episode of Democracy.